And contrary to what a lot of you might think, Wall Street back then, it didn't pay so well. Trainees, we didn't make very much money. Most trainees had rich parents or whatever to take care of them. I was running out of money seriously fast. So I was living out in Queens, I had 2 roommates, Mel and Pat, and they said, hey, become a carriage driver. We make tons of money. Anyway, what I ended up doing was suiting and booting, going down to Wall Street, working with Lehman Brothers Monday through to Friday, tearing home, putting on my Doc Martens pair of jeans, and then getting out my horse and carriage and putting it under the corner of the plaza here. I did that Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and of course, you know, it was winter and it was fairly cold, so we'd have a couple of coffees, and next thing we'd have to take a leak. And where do you take a leak around there? Well, you go into the plaza. So I was walking in here tonight and I see the doorman and he said, what, you again? Anyway, thank God things turned around for the best, and you know, it's a little better off today I am. When Desi asked me to be the honoree, I was like shocked and stunned. You know, you really don't know my press in the Gaelic field. It wasn't so hot. I was so bad. And this isn't taken away from goalies, because goalies are brilliant. They stick me in goals, and then I'd let in all the goals and say, all right, you're on the bench again. But then I started thinking, I said, all right, maybe he's thinking about all them medals I won for Longford back in the day, and I thought for about 5 minutes. I came up with, well, I won no medals or trophies or anything, so it couldn't be for that. But it might have been for the first medal I ever won. I won it when I was 8 years old. I won a silver medal. I didn't win the gold, I won a silver medal. And it was for the local community games. I went down, I wasn't any good at running or anything like that. I went into the 3-legged race and I won my first silver medal. Or maybe the second thing that happened in my life was I won a huge trophy. You know, not as big as this, but huge trophy. It was myself and my dad went into a fishing competition because, you know, a lot of skill in fishing, you know, very athletic, firing out the fishing rod and everything else. So myself and my dad, we fished all day long on Loch Melvin in County Fermanagh, big trout fishing place. Anyway, we sat there all day long. He was smoking players, so he wasn't getting bit alive with the midgets. I was. And then it started to rain. And at the end of the day, I didn't catch a single fish. All around me, right and left, there was guys hauling in these lunkers of fish, and we didn't catch a thing. I go home fairly dejected. My dad goes off to the pub with the lads, and they're there for a couple of hours. And a couple of hours later, he comes home with these 2 trophies in his hands. And I said, what are they, Dad? And he said, that's for you. One's for you and one's for me. And I said, how did we get 2 trophies? He said, you know, we were on the winning team. He immediately said that after. He said, son, much better to be lucky than good in this life. I consider myself very fortunate, very lucky. There's not a day I get up and I don't just love life. In fact, how lucky could you be to meet Maggie, my wife? Look at her looking stunning over there.
Oh, yeah.
When I told her that I was going to be honoured today for the GPA, she almost threw it. Well, she didn't throw a fit or anything, but she said, come on, seriously, when you walk into our house back home in Roscommon, what do you see on the walls? You see medals everywhere. You see trophies on our mantelpiece. You know, for God's sake, we live next door to Clonagale, and by the way, her nephew just became captain of the Clonagale under-12s yesterday, so shout out. One of the things that you might not know about me, and that is, there is a Gaelic park in Fermanagh. It's the largest Gaelic park in Fermanagh. It holds about 18,000 people. It's called Michael Brewster Park. True. I know Sven is thinking, oh, you paid for the naming rights of that. Well, the person that actually got that name on that park, he got it because of the fantastic football he played for Fermanagh. His name was Michael Brewster. He was one of the best Fermanagh footballers in the 60s, in the 70s. And in our family, we used to call him Mickey Brewster. He was just brilliant. His two sons played phenomenal football for Fermanagh. Unfortunately, it was that side of the family that played the football. We weren't so hot, so it didn't help us out. But Mickey Brewster, unfortunately, he passed away very young. He was only about 46, 47. Having started his Gaelic games playing minor for Fermanagh at age 15. And he was just a brilliant guy. He gave his whole life to Fermanagh GAA. And I'm going to say, Desi, if the GPA were around back then, he would have given everything and anything to do, you know, to be part of the GPA and to encourage players to join up and to help them along. He was just a brilliant footballer. And, you know, I see this trophy here tonight and I say, that's going to be dedicated to Mickey Brewster, to all the past and present GAA players, because by golly, it's easy for us to go to Dublin and have a phenomenal weekend, just, you know, hanging out, drinking in the suite. We were like, you know, Caesar himself last weekend, watching these guys playing hurley down there, killing themselves, and we were having a great time. But as Desi said to me, guess what? Every single person around has been paid. They're the only guys not getting paid. And I dedicated these guys as well. They're just a huge inspiration to me. I dedicated to Tom Moore and Kieran Murray from Icon, because they have been so generous to the GPA. You would fall off your seats if you've seen the checks that they wrote for this particular event. Adrian Jones, Declan Kelly, John Neary, Mike Higgins, your vision 3 years ago enabled us to be here tonight. Come on, seriously. Drinking pints in the plaza, having a great time. And by the way, I'd be so pissed. I don't know if you can use that language here, but I'd be so disappointed if you don't all hang out and watch Sal's band later, because he's going to crank it up at 9:30 and we're going to have more pints. And hopefully we'll be all civilized and go home and not, you know, do anything crazy here in the plaza. I want to give a big shout out, and by the way, I must be only about a minute into this, because 3 minutes in. So I wanted to give a big shout out to Credit Suisse, Matt.
7 minutes.
You were there for me back 6 years ago when Lehman went down, the whole place collapsed. I went into Matt's office and he said, listen, come over here to Credit Suisse, it's lovely, everything's great. And by the way, I have a big map of Ireland here. We were in a couple of other places and there was maps of Israel, Germany, all these other places. We're home. So Rich Jeffay, Matt, Kathy, all the guys at Credit Suisse. Great friend Patrick McBride. I wouldn't be here today without Patrick. Patrick and myself, we've soldiered a long time. Back in '86 we went to college together and it was him that inspired me to come here. I told him, he's a little tight when it comes to writing checks, by the way, so, you know. So I went to try to pitch it to him. He hadn't a clue what the GPA was. So I said, Patrick, the GPA is Guinness Peak Aviation. We're going public again. It's going to be hot. So he wrote the check and I gave it to Desi and we all laughed. You know, there's a couple of guys who can't be here tonight. Dennis O'Brien, Leslie Buckley, Sarah and Caroline, they're heading up their tables over there. You know, these guys have been so generous, and I picked up the phone and asked them, you know, could they help out? Within minutes, that check arrived over here, so I want to give a big shout out to them. Great guys. As is Kieran McLaughlin, John Fitz, the American Ireland Fund. Ronan Downs, I see you out there in Corona, congratulations, yes. Couple of others, we're almost there. Kevin O'Sullivan is on a plane right now, going to Ireland, visiting his mother, and you have to respect that. It's just unbelievable the respect they have for their mothers. So Kevin is going here. Donal is here tonight, as is Bodrick. But the Wolf of Waterville, where are you? That's Owen Moriarty, by the way, so he likes to go by the Wolf of Waterville. I called him up and, you know, he got involved and he helped us out a lot, so I wanted to just say hello. The Tyrone guys, I'm just sweating bullets over there. There's a couple of guys with balaclavas and I don't know what's going on behind us, but Faye Devlin, Tim and John Breslin, what the hell are you doing with them? But anyway, you know, wanted to give them a shout out. There is a Liberal Democrat in the House tonight. He happens to be Neil O'Dowd. I don't know how he got in because I don't know a Liberal Democrat out there that actually writes checks. They all want us to write checks and rise up our fellow man. But Neil, you're weird, you're generous. I don't know what's wrong with you. Maybe you're a bit of a Republican. Ariel Finan is here. Killian, I saw you Skull and Pints earlier, and Martin Keogh was asking questions galore, just you know, thrown off the committee earlier. What about Carla and her crew? Has she not just done an amazing job on tonight? I know one of them is going to pick me off the city. Dermot Hogan, hello. I see you over there with all the lovely ladies. And one other person that just asked me to give them a big shout out was Collie Mars. Collie Mars is, and his wife Stephanie have done an amazing thing on Shannon Gales out there in Queens. I know a lot of the GPA guys have gone out there. They've got limited resources, large family, but they give everything and anything to that place. So, you know, anything you guys can do, I would say it's money well spent. And then finally, Desi, Siobhan, Donlow, Aidan, all the guys at the GPA, we had an unbelievable weekend, 2 weekends over in Ireland a couple of weeks ago. And we got to see the hurling. I've never seen a hurling match in my life. It was amazing because I'm from Longford. I'm seeing Gaelic football, and I'm going to say the lads had a great time, Greg and David, and all I can say is, go row, Mila, Mahagum. Cheers!